Let's talk about the problem with GT7 Daily Races. Hello, I'm Drupal Designs, a visually impaired gamer, streamer and livery designer, and last night I did a little GT7 daily race and it pointed out to me all the problems with the daily races on GT7, so I want to take you through them. The race in question was the Daily Race A this week, which is at Deep Forest Raceway in the A112 Abarth pre-tuned, which I actually quite like. They haven't really done this combo before. Pre-tuned cars. It's a good circuit. I was very excited for it, and it's something a little bit different. But one thing that's always got me with daily races is DR isn't affected on Race A, which always baffled me. It's in sport mode, and it's a competitive race, so DR should be affected. It's affected on B and C, which always, usually 90% of the time, are Group 3 and Group 4, because of reasons. I only had time to do one qualifying lap, getting a 1:42.7, which I don't think was too bad considering I'd never really driven the car, and as I say, I only had time to do one lap. However, it did start us third on the grid, and so didn't get the perfect getaway, a little bit wheel spin and not the greatest reaction off the line. What I will say is I am in an S-ranked safety rating lobby. These are meant to be the cleanest drivers you can get on GT7. Make your own mind up if you agree with that statement. But heading down into the first corner now, I take the outside line with the two cars in front battling, making contact and opening up the door with more contact from those other cars, where I can just cut back up the inside and take back P3. We're then battling with Carbone up in front. It takes a nice defensive line, well defended there, a little bit of oversteer for them through the next couple of corners, and so we just have to sit behind. So this cream colour car on the inside sends one up the inside, and then we just take that spot back, giving them just enough room. So coming down to the back straight now, we do run a little bit wide on this corner, which I thought was going to give us a penalty, but luckily somehow it didn't. We just cut back on the track just in enough time. P3 comes past, does have a penalty, and now the pack behind is catching as they got a much better run. Two cars on the left there, and we just get punted into the wall, killing all our momentum going down the straight. We'll watch this off-board now, as you see as the cars coming past. The Belgium has a really good run with slipstream, and there's just 3 into 1 don't go, and we're worse off after all of it. Back on board with myself now after that collision. There's then contact further up in front. Again, they're getting sent round spinning. We're not able to take advantage though, but the compromise line for the Austrian there does mean we're then battling with them. So we get a run on this Austrian down toward turn 1, side by side we go, and trying to get as late on the brakes as possible. I do go a little deep, so possibly contact there, maybe my fault, but they go through anyway after, as I say, there was a bit of contact. So P9 now, after starting P3 after just one lap. So in the slipstream here of TSR fighting just in front of us, there's a car that's serving a penalty that just about squeezes us into the wall there as they've served their penalty, but we do manage to get through. We then have an inside line on the yellow car as we get a much better exit out of the hairpin, getting up to P7, so it's all going relatively well. Good recovery drive so far, so we're going to ride on board with this blue and pink car here as TSR in front has that penalty. We've got a little bit of a run, and so we're going to be catching all the way here. They've got a run on us, this blue and pink car, and as we're going to overtake TSR, they jink the car just to the left, putting us into a lovely little spin. Let's just watch that back from myself. So, moving slightly right to avoid the car that's just served the penalty, and they jink it into us, sending us round into a lovely little half spin, the wall actually saving us there, and down into P12. We then, a couple of corners later, there's these two cars fighting up in front. I'll just change the view so you can see it a little better. All of the rubbing, all of the bashing, and then all of the crashing. Coming up behind Brad here, you can see we got a good run through the slipstream down to turn 1, get on the brakes a little bit late, and we do run a little bit wide, and then there is definite contact on board with Brad through this corner. You see us coming back there, and they're just throttling on through us, pushing us wide, and what I'd like to call a push to pass. So we can see cars in front are collecting each other up in a little bit of contact. I've just picked up a half-second penalty for a minor corner cutting incident. The car's squabbling in front. It's all going to get rather spicy as we're on the final lap now, coming up to the penalty line to serve this half second. Everyone's kind of fighting and squabbling around us. We serve that penalty, and we've got past one car just about. We've got TSR that we were fighting with earlier, who gets sent to Narnia, of which we can then skip on through, and the person who did all of the sending has a half-a-second penalty. So let's have a look back to see why they've retaliated in that manner. So I've gone through the replay to try and find out where D. Arnold had an incident with that TSR fighting car, and I haven't found anything. I've just seen this D. Arnold absolutely ramming off that TSR driver. So it's through this section was the first one that I can really see between them. D. Arnold looks up the inside, can't find a gap, so just powers on through and pushes TSR wide, then pushes them into the wall, of which they then go into the wall themselves. And then it goes on further round to the incident at the end of the lap that we saw a moment ago. It just baffles me as to why people race like this in online lobbies. So that race, while at the offset it looked like it was going to be a really fun, enjoyable race, was very quickly spoiled, for myself at least, and it's kind of proves the reason why the last few months in my streams I haven't really been doing dailies that much. The driving standards have just been terrible. We haven't even really touched on the fact that daily races don't have much variety. It is Group 3 or Group 4 90% of the time. It is the same circuits, which I know GT7 is a little bit limited on tracks, but there are definitely more circuits and more variations they can use with some of the 500 cars that are in the game. Use some more of the road cars, use some of the cars that are a little bit different rather than it just being Group 3 and Group 4 all the time. Penalty system doesn't seem to be effective. People don't care about if they're getting rammed off. They're still having the highest level of safety rating when they're driving in such erratic manners and dangerous manners and ruining other people's races. They're still up at the top of the safety rating. It makes no sense to me. But let me know what you think of the daily races, what you think might improve the daily races. Let me know it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day and keep plodding on.